It's time to talk about the most important part of College Football 26 Dynasty, and that is recruiting. Today, we're going to make a beginner's guide for all you guys that may be new to the game. Even if you guys played last year, maybe you guys will pick up on a few things that you didn't know about from last year. Let's get into the video. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Snods here. We are back with another College Football 26 video, and today we're talking about Dynasty, and we're going to talk about how recruiting works. If you guys are new right here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitch. That link is in the description down below. We are streaming about 2 to 3 times a week. We're basically doing everything in the game right now. Here we go. I'm in a Dynasty right now, and we are actually the Oregon Ducks. Now, I selected Oregon because I want to get recruits quick, and I want to basically do whatever I want in recruiting. Now, obviously, the bigger the school, the more freedom you're going to have with recruiting. If you have a small school, I'll show you guys what I mean with that. The first thing you're going to see here with recruiting is setting up your recruiting board and scouting prospects. So here we go. I'm going to jump in here, and we're going to show you all of this stuff. So here we go. We have 1,125 hours to spend on our recruiting. That is more than enough. That is crazy amounts. I can do basically whatever I want with recruiting with a team like this, as you should. Teams like this in real life basically have infinite power. They can do whatever they want. They can basically talk to the best people in the world. It just comes down to all those big schools. At that point, it's kind of a toss-up. But here we go. We're in the recruiting board right now. We have nothing here right now. But the first thing that you guys are going to want to do is hit RB and go over to your prospect list. Quality of life thing right here. They put the team needs right above the prospect list. So now we no longer have to click the right stick in to take a look at our team needs. We can still do that if you guys prefer this for whatever reason. But if you don't want to do that, it's right there. And you can just reference this. This is huge. I hated that you had to do that in College Football 25. But here we go. This is where all the magic happens right here. The first thing we're going to look at here is our pipeline slot right here. This is the pipeline influence level. Basically what pipeline means, every school has a pipeline state, right? Basically what that means is people that live in this state, you have a much higher chance of getting those guys to commit to your school because your school is the pipeline school for that specific state. So those guys that are purple, gold, silver, those are all pipeline guys, and those are the guys that you have a higher chance of getting. So when it comes to filtering out who we should be getting, I always keep this at recommended. There's really no reason to switch anything else up at all. Oregon is a 4-star school, so we want to recruit guys that are 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star guys. We shouldn't be touching 1 or 2-star guys at all. If you are a 1-star, 2-star school, you should be staying around that range. 1, 2-star, maybe a 3-star guy every now and then. If you got a pipeline for a 3-star guy, you probably have a pretty good chance, as long as you play well during that season, of landing that 3-star guy. So you want to be realistic with the recruits that you go for based off of your school. So if we go over to my school right here, we can take a look at our team prestige. So they're actually 4.5 stars. So we can easily land 5-star recruits with this type of prestige. If you're a 2-star or 1-star school, don't even bother for 5-star guys. You're not going to get them. Here we go. We are allowed to get 35 targets. Now, I recommend doing about 15 to 20. Especially if you're a smaller school, because you're going to have a lot less hours to use towards your players. Now, we're Oregon, so we can basically max this out and pretty much talk to everyone. But odds are you guys are going to be a smaller school. So I recommend doing 20 targets. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for 20. And I want to go ahead and make sure I'm whiting out all of my positions that are above me. And I want to make sure that we're covering every single one of our team needs. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Before we start targeting people, I want to show you guys this little column right here. If there's a green dot next to this guy's name, that means that this player has interest in going to our school. So we want to target those guys that are already interested. They're going to be much easier. Now, can you target and get people to commit that don't have these green dots? Yes, you can. It takes a little more work, but I think it's easier to just go for the guys that already want to go to your school. So that's what I'm going to go for first. I target the guys that don't want to come to our school after we get all these guys to commit to our school. So here we go. To target these guys, all we got to do is just click A over these guys' names. And as you can see, the numbers are going up at the Mike linebacker position. So I've got that 4 out of 4. Now you can do more if you want. I like to just do exactly how many we need. You can also sort for specific positions. I like to do that as well. This Nathan Maddox right here is a 5-star guy. We are 6 in his interest. So if you want to know that, that is right here. We'll go ahead and target him. Why not? I'm going to fill out our targets here for team needs, and then I will show you guys what to do next on the recruiting board. All right, so here we go. I've only got 21 targets. There's really no reason to go for that 35 unless you have the extra time. If you have stupid amount of hours, sure, go for it. But there's really no reason to go higher than 20. We're just at 21 because we need a kicker and a punter. So next, what we're going to do is go to our recruiting board. So this is going to show everyone that we targeted. Now, there's a couple different ways to approach this. If you're a team like Oregon that has a crazy amount of hours, just go to your not fully scouted and then just start scouting everyone. So click the player and then go RB over scouting, and then just start spamming A, and that will just start scouting everybody. Now, if you're a smaller school, more than likely you're not going to have a whole lot of hours. What you really want to focus in on is the positions that you need the most. So in this scenario right here, I would probably spend more time scouting guys at the Mike linebacker position, guys at tackle. There's 4 total guys that we need. So we need to make sure we're getting the right guys. If you guys are limited to 450 hours, you're not going to be able to scout every single one of these guys, which is why we're keeping our target low. But don't worry, as you guys get better in that lower tier school, you guys will accumulate more and more hours as you are upgrading your coach and improving your team prestige as you win more games. But what I'm going to do, I have Oregon, so I'm just going to go ahead and scout every single player that's in here. You have to click the scout. It's going to cost you 10 points every single time you scout somebody. I will recommend this though. Before you start scouting people, go to your coach skills. Most of us should have those 100 points because of the pre-order. If you go to the recruiting section, if you are a recruiting archetype, make sure you are unlocking the position that you need. So for example, we need offensive line. I'm going to go ahead and purchase that first tier just so it costs me a little less to fully scout that specific player at that position. Because if I don't buy that first tier, it's actually going to cost me like way more just to recruit one player. So you're going to be saving a lot of hours just by doing that. So I'm going to make sure that I'm at tier 1 at least every single position here, so it doesn't cost me as much to fully scout everyone. So as you can see right here, the scouting is going by much faster. Before I had to click the button like 5 or 6 times. Now it's like 2 or 3 clicks and we have the player fully scouted. So we're almost done here. See, it's crazy. With Oregon, we have over 400 hours still to use, and we're probably not even going to need all of it. So now what I'm going to do is go to any right here, and we're going to look at every single player right here. As you can see right here, this first player has a green gem next to his name. Marcus Rochelle is a gem. So this guy is an absolute dog. Basically what that gem means is they're going to play about 1 star higher than what they're showing right here. So this dude's already a 5-star. So he's going to play like a 6-star prospect. So we're going for this dude. Absolutely. If they're a 2-star, they're going to play like a 3-star. You guys get the point. But we're just going to keep going down the list right here and see if there's anything else. If they don't have anything next to their name, they're not a bust, they're not a gem, but they're right in the middle. Definitely still go for these guys. They still have potential. Just because they don't have a gem doesn't mean they suck. But we're going to keep going. We've got another gem right here. He's a 4-star prospect. He's going to play like a 5-star prospect. That's basically how you should look at it. Another gem right here. We got gems everywhere. Are there any busts out there? No, oh my God, there's so many gems. No busts. Okay, so if there is a bust, you're going to see that gem symbol with like a red cross through it. So that means they're going to play under what their star rating is. So if he was a bust right here, he's a 4-star prospect that would probably play like a 3-star prospect. So we're going to go back to the small schools. If you guys have a small school, this is what you should be doing. If you are scouting and you see a gym, those are the guys that you want to go ahead and offer a scholarship. If you see a guy that's not a bust and you look at his stats right here and you like something that you see, go ahead and offer him a scholarship. You want to try to get on the board quick with these guys. You want to draw interest fast. That's a really, really good way to do it. Now, of course, I am Oregon. So pretty much all these guys, none of them are busts. I am going to offer a I'm going to offer a scholarship to every single one of these guys because we're Oregon and we got money like that. A fast way to offer scholarships is go to the needs scholarship section, go under recruiting and just start spamming A. You'll get through it much faster as opposed to just going to each individual position. Okay, so I've scouted every single player. I've offered a scholarship to every single player, and I still have 310 hours remaining. That's the power of having a great school like Oregon. So I can go back into prospects list, try to scout some more people, try to find some more gyms. That's the type of power you can get once you build up your school. But of course, it's going to be much harder if you're a smaller school. You have to really dial in to what you're scouting, what kind of scholarships you're offering out there. You have to be very conservative with what you're doing. You don't want to do anything stupid. Before we hop into the season, I want to go over to the My School section right here for recruiting. This is going to show you all of your team grades. Championship contender. Of course, Oregon is a A+ championship contender. These are what's called deal breakers. Every player has specific areas here that they really care about. If there's a player that has a deal breaker for a championship contender and you're not a championship contender, they're probably going to transfer the next season, just to keep it simple for you guys. If you see a prospect out there that is really high on championship contender and you're an A+, go for that guy. You probably have pretty good chances of getting into the top 3 with that dude. So academic prestige, they're not the greatest at Oregon. So if we have a guy that really cares about academic prestige, we might be in trouble with that player. And if you want to know what that deal breaker is, if you hover over the player at the bottom right-hand corner, it tells us right here, deal breaker for this guy right here is playing time. We need to have at least a C+ to satisfy this guy. And we're at an A+, so we're good with this dude. Now, we're Oregon, so there's probably really no one out here that we're going to have issues with. But again, those smaller schools, you're really going to want to dial in on this because this could really bite you in the butt. Yes, you'll have the dude for like a year, but he'll transfer, and it'll be really hard to get him to come back. So as soon as you advance the week, the first thing you're going to see is the recruiting update right here. This is going to show any kind of movement that's going on. So we've got this Don Simonson. He is first on our interest list. This guy is first. This guy is third. This guy is fifth. You guys get the point. If you go to My School Update, this is going to show you players that are at risk for transfer. And it's also going to show you the reason why these players are at risk. So the reason why these two guys want to transfer is because of playing style. Some things that you just can't do anything about. Like if you have this certain playbook, you like it, and you don't want to change it, you can't really do anything about the playing style. It is what it is. So sometimes there's just going to be guys that you just can't satisfy, and they're going to transfer. There is a bunch of players on your roster that it's just going to happen. You're not going to be able to satisfy every single player, which is the reality of it. That's how it is in real life too. But our week 0, we have a bye week. This is how most schools are. Some schools do have a game during this week, but this is when you can start actually interacting with your players and try to recruit them. So we're going to go to recruiting here. Couple new things that they introduced right here. As you can see right here, there is a green arrow next to this guy's name. This is showing that we are moving up on this guy's interest list. If you see a red arrow that is going down, that obviously means that you're going down on this guy's list. We don't have any of those, so that is awesome. All right, so we're fully scouted. We are good with our scholarships. We've offered everything that we need. If you're smaller school and you want to scout a little bit more, this is where I recommend getting that out of the way. But we've done all of that. Now we're going to start accumulating some time towards our players. The first players that I want to focus on are the gyms. These are the guys that I want. I have to get these guys. This is a 5-star gym right here. I have to get this dude. We are in first with this guy. So that is great. That is a good start. So what we're going to do is go over to recruiting and add an action. Now, If we're a team like Oregon, I know this is getting annoying. I keep saying this, but the recruiting process is night and day difference if you guys are a big school compared to a small school. So I want to make sure that I'm covering both sides. So we got 900 hours that we can distribute throughout all these players. That's a lot of time. Smaller schools, you're going to have like 350 to 400. So if we're a bigger school, I'm probably going to go 25. That's what I'm going to do right now. I am not going to send the house right away on this guy because it's just not necessary. You don't need to. For me, what I do, the only time I'm ever going to send the house is when we're in a huge battle with like one other school and it's really close and we're at the end of the year and we have a lot of hours to spend. That's the only time I'm really going to send the house. I want to make sure that I am covering every single one of these recruits before I add more time. What I'm going to do is go down our list here and start with all of our gyms. So these guys, I'm putting 25 on all of these guys. Now, if you're a smaller school, 25 might not be smart. I would recommend maybe doing 15. So do 10 and 5. It doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it actually is. It will give you a really good boost if you're just putting in 15 hours. From my experience, I just don't think there's any reason other than what I said to send the house to anybody. So I'm going to put 25 on all of my gyms. All right, so there we go. We've got 25 on all the gyms. That's good. We're going to go ahead and I could probably just do 25 for the rest of these guys. But if you don't have as much hours, maybe just focus on doing like 10. But we're Oregon. We're doing 25 on every single one of our players. The whole point of this is to make sure that we are reaching out to everybody that we are recruiting. I want to try to get every single one of these players. So that's why we're keeping our target low, around 20 to 25. That way I can actually talk to every single one of these recruits. I want to make sure I'm getting everyone. The great thing about this is once you select the action and add it, it's going to stay like that every single week throughout the season until you change it manually, of course. Okay, so here we go. I've added 25 to every single player that is on my list here. Now, of course, we're Oregon. We've got a lot of time. So I could go back into my prospects list if I wanted to, add some more people, do some more scouting, maybe try to find a couple more gyms. That is probably what I would do if I was doing a real rebuild right now. You want to make sure that you are maxing out your hours every single week. I don't care if there's 5 hours sitting here. Find a way to maximize those hours. So at this point, I'm not going to do it just for the purpose of this video. But if this was a real rebuild, I would hop back in here and try to recruit and scout more people to see if I can find that guy that has 95 plus speed. You just never know what you're going to find. Here we go, man. It's week 0. We're not going to have anybody that's ready for a visit just yet, but do keep in mind that visits are probably the most important thing when it comes to recruiting. So we will get to that shortly. Let's go ahead and advance the week and see how we do. All right, so our recruiting update list is a little bit longer. We have a lot of movement going on. We have a lot of guys that we have at first for our interests, but we have a couple guys that aren't even close to first. So this Nathan Maddox right here is a 5-star quarterback that is currently 7th on our list. So if this is the case and you really want this player, this is the time when I would start distributing maybe 5 to 10 more hours towards that player to try to move you up in that interest list. So we're at week 1. We're going to hop into our recruiting again. As you can see right here, all of the 25 is still here. So if you want to just keep it how it is, you can just jump into the game and then simulate to the next week. It can be very, very fast if you want it to. You can see right here that Nathan Maddox has actually moved down for us. We don't really exactly know why, but we have moved down. So if this is a guy that I absolutely want, I'm probably going to add a little bit more time to this guy. So I'm going to add another 15 to this guy and see if we can boost him up a little bit more. So what I want to do is go on the overview and kind of take a look at where we're at with everyone. If there's a guy that you really, really want and it's close, like this one right here, say I really wanted this guy. We're at number 1, but it's close. We're really close with Notre Dame, so we might want to boost it up just a little bit. Just throw like an extra 5 on there. It's cheap, and it's going to go a long way. So that might be enough just to give you that edge right there. So here we go. We're 3rd right now for Oregon. I want to get this guy. I want to give an extra 10. You guys see what I'm doing right here? The 25 is kind of just our base. If you're a smaller school, the 10 to 15 is your base. You might not ever have to move your base amount of hours. Like this guy right here, I mean, he's damn near committed to us. There is zero reason for us to add any more time with this guy. Keep it at 25. If we're blowing everybody out of the water and no one's even touching us, maybe even take a little bit of time off. That way you can use that time somewhere else where it might be a little more competitive. So here we go. I'm going to adjust my hours here accordingly, how I want to do it. And then we will simulate and move on from there. Okay, so we simmed to the next week, and I'm glad this happened because I want to show you guys this Don Simonson. He was a clear front runner for us. And now UCLA is about to get him. So if we really want to get this guy, I'll probably put a little bit more time on him, but he is very close to committing to UCLA. So we're either going to get him at 1 or we're going to lose him and get 40 extra hours to put towards somebody else. So that's the beauty of this game, man. There's a lot that can happen every single week, depending on what happens. If you start to lose, you can definitely start to lose interest in your recruits. But what I really want to show you guys is the ready for visit section. So we've got 2 guys here that are ready for a visit. Now, something new here, if we hover over these guys in the prospect list, they've got a little red dot next to their name. So that means that there's something that is available that wasn't available before. So if I go into recruiting, as you can see right here, we are able to schedule a visit with this guy. We can also sway this guy, soft sell or hard sell this guy. This is very important. So sway, basically how this works, if successful, you can convince this recruit that whatever subject it is that you talk about is important. So if I click sway on this guy, let's remove a little bit of time. That way we can do all that. As you can see right here, these are all of the different motivations that are in the game for recruiting. Now, as you can see right here, we don't know what he likes, but we know what he doesn't like. What I would do in this situation is wait until we know what he really likes. That way we know which section here to sway him on. So championship contender, we find out that he doesn't like it, right? I can sway him and try to convince him that it is actually important to care about championship contender, and that could go up. Now, I don't ever use sway. I'm going to say that right now. I don't ever use it. But what I do use is soft sell and hard sell. Soft sell is going to cost you 20. Hard sell is going to cost you 40. So this is where those good grades for those motivations can really pay off. So I'll start with soft sell. There are 3 sections that we can soft sell this guy for. So this is going to give you that edge versus those other schools. So if there's a school out there that we're competing against that has worse, let's say, brand exposure, coach prestige, and conference prestige than we do, and we do this pitch, that could give us that edge to beat out that school. Does that make sense? Soft sell is kind of a more conservative way to do it. Hard sell is a little more aggressive. So like if you're coming down to the last weeks of recruiting and you really want this guy and it's getting close, this is when you should be hard selling. This is going to give you that edge. Now we're going to talk about visits. Visits have completely changed this year. I really love how they did it this year. It makes more sense. So if we go to schedule visit, this is only going to cost us 25 hours to get this guy to visit to our school. Now it works exactly how it did last year once you schedule it. So if I want to schedule the visit, it's going to cost us 25. I pick the week that I want to do. Of course, we want to pick the week that makes the most sense. Honestly, this is I guess that's where we're going to go ahead and do our visit. As you can see right here, all these other ones have 1 arrow. This one has 2. So that's the one that I'm going to go for. So we're going to go ahead, schedule that visit, and you want to choose a subject that this player cares about. Now, this guy, we don't really know anything about him yet. So I don't want to actually schedule this visit yet because I don't know anything about him. So I'm going to wait to do this visit. And we're going to go to our punter over here and see if we know anything about this guy. Back to the amount it costs. This is going to depend on where they live. So if you're Ohio State and you're scheduling a visit for a player that's in California, it's going to cost you a little bit more hours to get that player to visit. Now, if you're in Ohio State and you've got a guy that's in Kentucky, or you have a guy that's in Ohio, it's going to cost you maybe like 15 hours to get that guy to come to your school. So I really love that they did that. It makes visits much easier. Last year, I think it was 40 for every single player. And that just, I feel like, is way too expensive to schedule a visit. I can schedule a visit against Oregon State. And as you can see right here, brand exposure has a green check next to it, and we have an A+. This guy cares about brand exposure, and we have an A+ grade. So that's what we want to talk about when we are doing this visit. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule it. All right, week advance summary. As you can see right here, that Nathan Maddox that we were going for is now locking us out, and he is in our top. He is in his top 5 schools. So we're not going to get this Nathan Maddox. It's okay. That's part of recruiting. That's what's going to happen. Good thing about that is the hours that we were putting towards him, we now get those hours back and we can put it towards someone else. Now, for me, if I get locked out by a player, I just delete them. I take them off. Now, you can still get those guys eventually if something happens, but I just delete them. I take them off because likely there's probably another quarterback out there that is going to want to come to our school, and we can just go for that guy. It is what it is, man. That's how we're going to do it. So I'm probably just going to replace him with maybe this 3-star guy, something like that. Maybe he'll be a gem and he'll play like a 4-star. You just want to make sure you're paying attention to the guys that are locking you out. That way you can hop back into your prospect list and replace those guys. As you can see right here, we got a bunch of red dots. There's a bunch of guys here that we can do the soft sell, hard sell, and schedule a visit. So you can see right here, this guy, Nigel Beatty, is in Oregon. And we can schedule a visit right here, and it only costs us 10 hours. It is so cheap to get guys that are in your pipeline. It is huge, and that's how it should be. So I'm going to schedule this one, and we're going to talk about being a championship contender. That should be a successful visit. Now, for these visits, I want to make sure that I'm picking the game that has the most arrows here. Because if we win this game, we want it to mean something, right? Also, what you want to pay attention to on the bottom right is complimentary visits or competitive visits. You want complimentary visits. So for example, if you're trying to get 2 quarterbacks, right? And you schedule the visit the same week. You don't want to do that because that is a competitive visit. It's not going to go well. If you have a quarterback and a wide receiver, however, that is a complimentary visit. So that's going to give you an extra green arrow if you win that game. So you guys see where that's really cool. So you really want to pay attention to that. It's on the bottom right-hand side of the screen right here. So we're going to schedule all these visits and see how it goes. I've got a total of 4 visits for weeks 4 against Oregon State. That's when it locks out. So I can no longer schedule any more visits during that week. So now I'm just going to move on and go to Indiana. You can do a bye week, but there's just really no game influence to give you a little bit of a bonus. So you can do bye, but I don't recommend doing it. You always want to get that extra bonus. So we're going to go ahead and schedule those. All right, so we're at the Oregon State game. We have 4 total visits for this week. So this is a very important game. We need to make sure that we dial in on this game, and we need to make sure that we win to make this experience as good as possible for these recruits. Now, there is a possibility that these guys that you scheduled a visit for may have committed to a different school. So you want to make sure that you're going in here and make sure they didn't commit anywhere else. It looks like we're good to go. I've got a bunch of people ready for visit. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule all these bad boys out. Visits, I feel, are the most important part of recruiting. That is when you get all your commits, especially as a small school. You're going to need to show these guys that they deserve to play for this team. Show them why they should come to our school. So we won. Weirdly, we did not get any commits. That's going to happen, right? It's not an automatic commit. You guys won the game, right? That's good. it's still a positive, right? Just because they didn't commit doesn't mean you lost them. So if you want to see how that visit went, go over to that player, hover over the visit scheduled, and it'll show you right here how it went. Since it was a rivalry game, we got extra influence for that. If it was a close game, we would have got a little bit more. As you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, there is a total of 5 green arrows. So it was a very successful visit. So that's it, boys. That's basically how I do recruiting all year long. I think my biggest tips is to just never send the house ever unless you absolutely need to. And you're like on the wire of just last minute, you need to get this guy right now. That's the only time I would ever send the house. It's a couple of these guys, I do have the house sent on them because we're Oregon and we can spend hours like that. But even in that case, we really don't need to. As you can see right here, 65. There are abilities that you can unlock to get extra time on these guys. So that is another thing to keep in mind. I didn't want to get into that because, like I said, abilities, that can be a whole nother video that we can talk about. Next thing, make sure you're doing your visits. I remember last year, I completely forgot about visits and I did not get a single commit. And I was Alabama. Yeah, so visits are super, super, super important. Make sure you are doing that and make sure you are planning them smart. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and sim to the rest of the season so we can show you guys the transfer portal and how all that works. Okay, so we're in the off season now for Oregon. It is now time for the transfer portal and off season recruiting. This is huge right here. This is crucial. Basically, all of your hours that you accumulated are going to reset. Now, as you can see right here, all these guys are committed to our school right now. So we can't accumulate any hours to these guys. But there's a lot of guys in here that we have not gotten to commit yet. So this is a good time to kind of go all in for the guy that you really want, or you can really distribute your hours everywhere. It kind of depends on how you want to do things. But we now have the transfer portal section here open to us. So this is going to show us who's now available out there that wants to transfer to our school. And now, as you can see right here, our recruiting board is completely full. So we cannot add any more than 35. So I'm just going to take a few of these guys off that we don't want. And we'll go to our transfer portal section right here. And there's a bunch of guys in here that want to come to our school. So this is a good time to fill in those positions that you need, like that you weren't able to get during the regular season. So as you can see right here, we don't have a strong safety. So I want to go to strong safety, take a look at who's available, who wants to transfer to us. This KP Price guy wants to transfer. Oh, it's right there. It's right there, right in front of my face. The previous team this guy was on was Boston College. So that is cool. I don't know if that was there last year. But this guy right here is from number 5, Georgia. So this is probably one of the better strong safeties in the league right here. So yeah, there's a lot to look for here. Look for the big name guys too. I have seen Jeremiah Smith in the transfer portal before. We don't see him right now, but you want to look for those big stars because it is possible that they can be in the transfer portal. And then those guys that you put in your recruiting board that are available for transfer, you can obviously recruit these guys the same way you normally would with normal prospects. And then I don't really recommend scouting guys that want to transfer because there's no way for you to get like gems or anything like that. I guess if you really want to see like what kind of abilities he has, anything like that, you can. If you really want to know what his speed, acceleration is, all that stuff, you can do that. But you're not going to get like a gem or anything like that for a guy that's already in the league. Now, also keep in mind for the off-season stuff, you can schedule visits. These are very, very important. You get 4 weeks here to schedule out visits. So you want to make sure that you're doing visits for every single one of these players. Again, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to do visits. Well, boys, that is going to be it. I know that was a long video, but this recruiting is very, very, very in-depth and very complicated. So I wanted to make sure that we made a video on it because I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that are very confused on what you should be doing. But boys, I hope this helped you guys out. If it did, leave a comment down below. That's going to be the end of this video. I'm out of here, boys. Peace.